Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Brian from Apex Auction Car Reconditioning. We're going to work on one of the auction cars today. This is another one I bought for just a couple $100 on the red line at an auction, a public auto auction. And obviously, as I've been explaining, the red line is a line at the side of the auction where cars go through that have issues, mechanical issues, and much more sometimes. I did pick this one up, and it had a check engine light, ran fine. And by the time I got it back to the shop and got footage on this for the first video, that light was gone, cycled through. We hooked up the Zurch code reader, nothing. So mechanically, no issues. We changed the oil, we flushed the radiator fluid, we did a transmission service. I didn't get footage of that because that's just boring. And it is working perfectly fine. So how about we see how good we can get this to look on the outside? We're going to start with these headlights just to make it brighter at nighttime, make it legal, make it pass inspection, and make it look a little bit better. Let's get to it. I don't know what's worse, the headlights or the paint. The paint, we're going to make a video on that. I get a lot of questions on how to take care of something like that. There's really only two ways to take care of it, but we'll cover that. There are some ways to make it look better temporarily, and I mean very temporarily. But let's start with these headlights just for safety issues. As you can see, there are some internal cracking from the heat in areas that you can't fix. But we can make the rest of it look a whole hell of a lot better and safer for the driver. Oxidized from the sun, chemicals, you name it, they look terrible. Let's fix it. Well, first things first, we'll pop the hood. Get that up out of the way, and then there's a section we don't have to tape off. So we got this here. Don't have to tape that off. We don't have to tape this bottom off because there's a ledge right here. Won't bump up against anything. So really, the only area we have to tape off is right here. I guess you don't have to worry about taping it off because this fender needs to be painted anyways, but just for practice, let's do it. For good practice. Or good habits. However you want to say it. Once you get into good habits, it becomes second nature. You don't even think about it. You go through the motions and you are a professional. That'll do it. We're not taping it like we're painting the vehicle. You're just taping it so the sanding disc or sheet or whatever you use does not bump up against the paint and damage it. All right, next step. Step one, and we're going to do everything by hand. I'm not going to use a machine today. I'll show you can do everything by hand just by using some sand sheets. First, 600 grit, and you want this to be the workhorse. In other words, this is going to be the one that removes that failed factory UV coating that they put on and doesn't last for crap. We're going to wet sand as usual. I always wet sand here because I don't want airborne dust and contaminants, as we do PPF here on a daily basis. So it's good practice just to keep your shop as clean as possible. It's hard enough just keeping up with the shop manager and her fur, which we do a great job keeping up with that. I keep up after it on a daily basis. She's worth every hair. Shop manager is here right behind the camera taking a nap. I'll get her in the videos when I catch hell when I don't get her in the videos. I'm almost convinced over half of you watch it just for the shop manager, if nothing else. I'm fine with that. She's great. She's a family member, as all pets, especially dogs, should be. If you're going to get a pet, an animal, especially a dog, make it a part of your family. Take it with everywhere. When we go on vacation, if it's a place that doesn't allow dogs, well, especially dogs, we don't go. We just make other plans and we find somewhere else. There's a lot of places everywhere you go that will accommodate your family member, your furry, four-legged family member, or whatever you have. And there's really no excuse nowadays to have them boarded and leave them at home with somebody that they may not be comfortable with. Make sense? Let me know what you think about that down in the comment section. All right, that's going to do it for step one. So I kept going until this residue went from a yellow residue running down the front of the vehicle to a white residue, meaning we shaved off that oxidized yellowing section and we're down to now clean plastic. And we can move on to the next step, which will be 1000 grit. And this will be refining steps from here on, because we've done the hard work. We've removed the oxidation and that failed headlight lens layer, and now we're just refining and getting things clearer and clearer, and each step that we take here will make the lens clearer and clearer. I keep flushing the lens, keep flushing the sand disc or sand sheet or whatever you want to use. So you keep flushing that residue, which is, the residue's plastic that we're shaving off of here. When it gets in the sandpaper, it can clog it up, make it non-effective. It'd be a little bit quicker to do it by my machine, but if you don't have an air compressor for some of these sanders or a little polisher that you can attach sandpaper to, by hand is perfectly fine. All right, let me clean this off. Let me grab some towels and we'll go from there. You could probably see this looks so much better already. Just getting rid of that yellowing and all that garbage. And there's two ways you can go about this from here. If you're going to be using a sealant or a coating, step down to another grit sandpaper, 1500 or 2500, and polish out from there. I'm going to be using PPF. If I do a headlight restoration, it's going to be semi-permanent. So from here, I could do a little bit of polishing. I don't have to make it perfect because the PPF on top of this makes that lens perfect and then protects it for a long time to come. So let me grab what I'm going to use for my next step. For my next step, it's going to be a polisher and an extra cut compound like 3D ACA 500. By the way, I always mention this, but one of Rupees' best polishers, the pneumatic LHR 75, crazy good polisher. And the shop manager definitely agrees. What do you think about that? Pneumatic, electric, battery powered, nap time. All right. Again, all of the garbage is gone. Now we just refine. Just about out of my ACA 500. We use it a lot here. 3D1 and ACA 500 and the AAT, the adaptive abrasive technology from 3D, still fantastic, still top notch to me. So this is what you do. You just keep going over it with the polish, one step or two step or whatever makes you happy. When you're using PPF to protect, you don't have to make it perfect. But it's completely up to you how far you want to go with the polishing step. All right, wipe off the residue. Now this one has a lot of the internal micro cracking. And you can't chase after that because it goes all the way through the lens to the inside. So there's going to be limitations when you have that kind of cracking from heat. But if you look at the other side and then look at this side, we already made a huge difference. And this here, hopefully you can see that, if I can get it to focus, is what I mean by the micro cracking. This is all the way through from the inside out. From here we want to clean not only this surface, but the surrounding areas. We don't want grittiness, dirt to flush in under the film. So we just use a rinseless wash, grab a drying towel, clean and dry the area surrounding the light, because we're going to use some of these areas outside here to tack the film and stretch such a curvy headlight. For headlights, I have a ton of scrap PPF pieces, and I'll just match one up the size of the headlight. We have our slip solution and our tack solution and a squeegee to get this thing started. Get some slip solution on the headlight itself. Peel the PPF from the backing. Comes with a backing, and a lot of films come with a cap sheet as well. The cap sheet protects the film during shipping. And as we peel off, we spray this, so in case the film folds upon itself, it won't stick and ruin your day and ruin your film. I mean, it does stick, but you can easily pull it apart. And we get it on here. The slip solution allows us to make some adjustments when it comes to positioning of the film. We also spray our warm slip solution. The temperature of it relaxes the film. The warmer you get, you don't want really hot. Now, I'm going to tack it here and stretch right here, and we'll have a perfect fit. Tacking. Tack solution. Tack solution for me is just water. Some use alcohol. We just like to use water here. That's tacked to a point that I can now pull on the other end, and it will hold. Glass it and squeegee towards you. Work out all of that air and slip solution, any air pockets. And then on this end, going to get some more tack. That'll anchor it so you can clean up the rest of the area. And now I can pull this back up and squeegee it into the corners. Okay, that's all there is to it. I let this dry for a little bit, then I'll come back and do trimming along the edges, and we are done. While we wait for that to dry a little bit and tack, I can show you that we are saving 166, 168, somewhere in that territory per headlight just by doing this instead of buying a new headlight. So, okay, it's been sitting here for, well, probably close to 2 hours now, and it's dried out a bit. We're going to surgically cut around the edges. This takes a little bit of time to get used to perfect your skill when it comes to trimming and cutting on headlights, and then especially paint. Sometimes you got to do this on paint as well. But just like everything else, practice, practice, practice. The more you do it, the better you will get at it. And yes, it is a little bit scary at first, especially if you're cutting on paint, but you just have to, not hold the knife here so the point's digging into the paint. Bring it down, guide it with these 2 fingers, and listen for the squeaking sound. When you start to hear sounds like a little mouse squeaking, then you're just cutting the top of the film and not through the adhesive, and you're scoring it enough that you can pull away the excess PPF without hurting the surface. And you carefully see how that's tearing away. It wasn't completely cut, but we scored the film enough and it went deep enough that you can pull it away from there. See that? You have to give it a little bit of a tug. If you cut all the way through, that would just fall away. Now we get the squeegee, and since we were tugging at it, we just want to go over the edges one final time and make sure that we squeegee out any air or anything that we might have done to the film as we pulled away the excess. We're done. In no time at all, we're done. Better than a new headlight because it has better protection on it now than that crappy top coat or layer that they put on. I went ahead and completed both sides. So much better, so much safer, and not only that, so much cheaper than buying a new headlight. Yes, the micro cracking is still there. The film hides it a little bit, but I gotta tell you, the vehicle's looking so much better already, just with the headlights being done. We'll keep going, and we'll attack the paint and those issues in a future video. That's going to do it for this video. Quick and easy. Let me know what you think down in the comment section, and we'll be back with another video soon. This has been Brian from Apex Auction Car Reconditioning. Once again, with your favorite channels, it's no longer just enough to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now, the algorithm wants you to interact with your favorite channel. If you want to stay connected, thumbs up or thumbs down and comment, and you will get notified when there's new content immediately. I'll catch you later, guys.